This is episode number 287 of the Homeowner Show. Whether you're a DIY or looking to hire, we're here to help you find the best information and options for you and your home. My name is Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Craig Williams.
Hello, and welcome to the Homeowner Show. We're so glad you could join us for another live episode here in the studio. How you doing, Kev?
I am great. Trying to dust off my kayak, make sure that is working and floating along.
It doesn't stop around here.
No, I mean, I feel like they say it's an El Nino year. I believe it so far.
Yeah.
But I don't know about your yard and your trees, but they are loving it at my house.
The plants are digging it, man.
It's probably the best my yard has looked. I mean, we've been there for 2 years this month, and it's the best it's looked, period. We've had 2 really dry summers, so I know there's a lot of flooding, and I'm my heart goes out to the people that have lost a lot, and not just people, businesses that have suffered quite a bit from the flooding that's happened, but my yard is really loving it.
Yeah, no, you think about like regular flooding, people's water getting in people's houses.
Yeah.
There was one that I heard of where it had flooded before. Mm-hmm. And so when they demoed it and then done the remodel, they had gone back in with waterproofed insulation on the first floor.
Okay.
Up, I think it was like 5 feet.
All right.
Well, the water came in 6 feet.
Oh.
And so it was like, they can't win.
6 feet?
Yeah.
That is,
that's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water.
And so, but the problem, here's the problem with what happened here is it wasn't like a hurricane.
No.
It wasn't a tornado. It was just a regular old thunderstorm, Texas thunderstorm, and it was acutely affected an area.
Right.
And so it wasn't like a lot of people that were hurt by it, but it's still a lot of people.
Well, I mean,
it just didn't make national news, and so there's not a whole lot of help coming in.
That's right.
To help these families out.
That's the difference. It is interesting. There was about, depending on where you were at, 12 to 15 inches of rain within a matter of days, which is a lot. Mm-hmm. But it, like you said, it acutely affected 2 very specific areas. 1, Livingston. Mm-hmm. 2, Conroe, North Conroe.
Yep.
And that area specifically, there's 2 massive lakes.
Yep.
And the Lake Livingston, I think, is the 3rd largest lake in Texas, or second or 3rd.
Something like that, yeah.
And so they're having to release record levels of the dam, and it's just cresting the rivers, and it's a problem. It's a big problem. Yeah. So, and it just keeps raining. I mean, it's raining right now. So
yeah, it's and there's a big band of it, coming through.
Right.
That's going to be here probably in about an hour.
Yeah.
So, it could happen again. We got a lot of red headed this way.
That's right. Possible hail, tornadoes popping up.
Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff that roofers love.
Speaking of, yes, right. Speaking of, I find this a little bit hilarious in a tragic situation. So, a week ago, there was a random tornado that hit Conroe and took out a house that a cop lived in, and he passed away
because of the tornado.
Yeah,
jeez.
And so tragic situation. And then I guess it was last Thursday, there was a funeral for him, and so police officers from all over came in, and I was driving home, and I exited to get my side road coming down to my house. Mm-hmm. And there were cop cars all over the place. And there were tow trucks, all kinds of stuff. Turns out 4 of the cop cars during the processional got in a wreck.
Oh, jeez.
Together. And they were
with each other?
With each other.
Oh, gosh.
And but what weirded me out was I was in Conroe, and the police cars were Huntsville policemen. And I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah.
What is happening right now? And then I got home later and found out that it was because they were here for that funeral.
So what happens in that situation? Do you have to call in like a third-party cop to write the ticket or do the investigation?
I don't know.
I also want to see the fight. when they have the discussion as to whose fault it was.
Whose fault it? Yeah. Well, what's funny is like it's very clear that something happened, and at least the 2 cars that I saw, apparently there were 4. One had rear-ended the other. It was a little bit hilarious to
Talking
me.
on their cell phone.
That's right.
And like, I'm sorry, don't even act like you don't do it, cops.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen you.
Right, and it's funny because like, they're like, oh yeah, we're not allowed to be on our computers either. Right. Like you're telling me you got a 16-inch screen in front of you. Right, like at your fingertips.
And it's not the only screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're not watching it. You're not paying attention to it. You're not ever typing on it. You're never doing anything. And my brother-in-law is a cop, and I know that some of them are great and others of them are not. But it happens from time
clearly
to time.
happened.
Something happened. So, what's new in your world, man?
Man, we're just here to do a quick trip report because me and mine just got back from an awesome vacation.
Dude, it looked awesome.
And so wanted to let everybody know. I mean, we every once in a while we do one of these getting out of the house episodes where we take a trip. We want to let everybody know what it was like. Some good things, some bad things, and whether or not it's a place maybe you ought to go.
Yeah.
And this place gets my full endorsement.
Okay.
I mean, if you have the means, by all means, definitely go.
So one of the things that's interesting to me is that this is not a one-time thing. You've been back.
Yes.
This is your second time to go, which the full endorsement at that point holds more water.
Sure. To be
pun
fair,
intended.
it's technically my third time to go.
Okay.
So I went once before I was married.
Okay.
With my family.
But the difference, I would say, is that you actually even stayed at the same place that you went last time.
Yes, that is true.
So to me, your endorsement still holds more weight now.
Right.
Because you not only did you go and do similar things, you went to the same place.
Well, and we'll get into why, because I think we sort of stumbled on like the really smart way to do the island.
Right.
If you're trying to figure out, we're talking about St. John, U.S. Virgin Island. It's just off the coast of St. Thomas, which is, I think it's like the second biggest island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I think St. Croix is the biggest one. But anyway, it's right next to St. Thomas. It's also like on the, I want to say it's the east side of the island, I think, is where you can like, if you're a strong enough driver with a golf ball, you could probably hit it.
Oh, okay.
It's really close.
Yeah.
And so, but like it's what's unique about this island is it's the only island in the U.S. Virgin Islands that's a national park.
Okay.
Which gives it a whole different distinction.
Sure.
Which is, it's doubly interesting because it's a national park, but it's still a territory.
Yeah.
And you know what I found out that's interesting about U.S. territories?
Tell me.
There are no open container laws.
What?
Yeah.
You really?
Yes.
So that to me would be one of the
which
most regulated places.
So let me tell you why this is like so disturbing. One, no open container law. Like that should just freak everybody out.
Yeah.
Two, you drive on the left-hand side of the road, not the right-hand side of the road.
Okay.
And it's all like straight up and down curves, back turns, driving through mountains. Mm-hmm. So, and on narrow roads.
Okay.
So you potentially have drunk Americans.
Oh, geez.
Driving, not like it's still illegal to drive drunk.
Well, of course.
Right? But there's just no, you can have alcohol out and about. The people riding in the car can be drinking.
That's weird.
It seems weird. That's the way it used to be in the U.S. not that long ago.
I understand. But a lot has changed.
A lot has changed. I'm not saying that the changes are bad. No, I'm just saying, like, it's not that long ago where that was the norm here.
Yeah.
But all that to say, driving through the mountains, narrow roads, wrong side of the road. To me, it's like you're asking for it.
It's like a perfect like sphere of disaster ready to happen. Like
but like that being said, we never had an incident.
Good.
The whole time we were there. Obviously, I didn't drive while drunk or with an open
because
container.
Here's the thing. You don't have to stay where you're at to
Right.
get all the alcohol you want.
No.
You can be driving home
That's right.
while drinking. It's like that whole, you remember the Ron White bit where he was like, you
Public
got
intoxication.
Yeah, you got, yeah,
They
exactly.
threw me
yeah, it's
into
like,
public.
That's right. I didn't want to be drunk. I got arrested for being drunk in public. I didn't want to be drunk in public. I wanted to be drunk at a bar. They threw me into public. It's really funny. Really funny.
So anyway, that was an odd one that we stumbled upon while we were there. And I'll also say this. I mean, I get some of the weird and like negative stuff out of the way. Yeah. It's expensive.
Yeah.
But
what kind of expensive? Like Disney expensive or like vacation expensive? Those are two different types of things.
More expensive than Disney.
Okay.
And really because the food.
It's expensive once you get to the island.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's not a cheap bit of food on the island.
Right.
Everything has to be shipped there, and it's probably been shipped through 2-3 countries before it even gets to you. Just as a for instance, like traditional, at least for us, like an economical meal for our family is spaghetti.
Okay.
So I'm talking noodles, 1 jar of sauce, some Italian sausage, Parmesan cheese, and some garlic bread.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
I went to go pick up those ingredients, and what else? Did I pick up anything else? I think maybe I got like a bottle of wine.
Okay.
Which and for context, I think the bottle of wine I picked up was like $15.
Okay.
For all of that, I think I paid $65.
Oh, goodness gracious!
Yeah, from a grocery store near the place we were staying.
And you can like order takeout for your whole family in the U.S. of spaghetti for cheaper than that.
Yes, every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, I could make spaghetti dinners for like the whole week.
Oh,
on
yeah.
$65.
Absolutely.
Here. Like, but there, I mean, like, it's just the way it is there. I mean, like, just food is like they had avocados on sale for $6.95 a piece.
Oh,
it's like, like there's just nothing.
hurts.
There's nothing cheap. I bought a bunch, like a thing of bananas.
Okay.
Like I think it had 4 or 5 bananas in the bunch.
It's like $1 here.
I think I paid $5
Oh my goodness.
for those bananas. It was like $1 a banana.
Jeez.
You know. So it's just the way it is. The only thing that's not expensive there is rum.
Oh.
And it's because it's made pretty much there.
Right.
Yeah. The food, just like be prepared because, and going out to eat's not any cheaper. It's more convenient.
Sure.
And probably still going to be better than most of the stuff that you can get at the grocery store.
So
there's not a whole lot of selection either.
Is there value in cooking yourself, or is it if you can get it for a similar price, or is it still quite a bit more expensive?
I would think that if you have odd dietary restrictions, there is value in cooking it yourself.
That makes sense.
But I would also say that, like, when my wife and I went the first time, we did not have a kitchen in the place that we were staying. So, like, every meal had to be eaten out or had to be, like, some sort of, like, prepared packaged food, like granola bars or Pop-Tarts or something like that could be a meal.
Open eat.
Yeah, and it's just ready to go.
Yep.
But like again, like you can't bring that kind of stuff with you. I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to like pay extra for.
Yeah.
Because all the airlines have lowered the poundage that you can pack on a checked bag.
Right.
By like 10 pounds, I think.
Sure.
So
what is it, like 50?
It's 40 pounds.
It's now. It was 50. Now
it was
it's 40.
50. Now it's 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least on the airline we went on.
Yeah.
I imagine it's the same across the board.
Sure.
So anyway, all that being said, incredible place to go. Some of the best snorkeling you'll ever do in your life. Some of the most up close experiences you'll have with ocean life that you can ever hope to have.
Okay.
And
like what?
Like we swam with giant sea turtles.
Cool. Giant
manta rays. I saw the biggest starfish I've ever seen in my life. It was the size of my torso.
Oh, my goodness.
And a lot of times it's in water that has visibility, 20 feet, 25 feet.
Wow.
Because most of the island is made up of like these inlets and bays. And so there's not a lot of waves.
Yeah.
It's a lot of still water. And so in these bays, they've been able to cultivate, and they're still regrowing, but like cultivating these coral growths that are just incredible.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different fish in and amongst those corals, and fish that you've just never seen before.
Sure.
So, every time I went to a different beach, I saw a different kind of fish that I just hadn't seen yet.
Wow.
And like good, there was one that we went to where a 3-foot shark came in and just swam right up close to the beach.
Wow.
And I mean, just kind of did like a perimeter pass, just looking to see what was going on.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a dangerous shark or anything like that, but people were like, "Oh, it's a shark." Yeah, it's like the size of my arm, man.
Yeah, but still. Yeah.
I mean, he can still bite you.
Of course.
I don't know why. I mean, they don't want to.
No.
So
not today.
But anyway, it's so the other thing is like the island is full of chickens,
Okay.
donkeys,
All right.
and deer.
Really?
Yes.
So can you? I guess you're farming chickens at that point. Or are they wild?
They're wild.
Really?
Now there's people that keep them.
Sure.
I left off goats and sheep. They have
So
goats and sheep.
can you hunt
Nope.
then?
No.
Okay, because it's a U.S.
Well,
because it's a national park.
It's a national park. They have been talking about opening up a season on the deer.
Well, because I would imagine, what do they do to control the population?
See, this is the thing: is there are no predators on the island.
Right. So I can see that, which is another reason you'd have to control the population.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's there's this is actually something I thought was really cool. There's no predators, so like no big cats, nothing like that. Not really even any. They do have like some red-tailed hawks.
Okay.
So like, but those will go after like chickens and rats and
Sure.
mongoose and things. They do have mongoose.
Oh.
We saw one while we were there. It's
Nice.
it was really cool.
Yeah.
And no poisonous snakes.
Wow.
No poisonous spiders. Like no insects that are like biting, stinging. Not like it's like the antithesis of Australia. Right? I mean, like everything in Australia is trying to kill you. Like there's nothing like the most dangerous thing you can come across is like fire coral. Which can get you.
Sure.
And then there's some things in the ocean like urchins that can get you.
They have like jellyfish or anything.
I mean, they're there, but I never saw any while I was there. I mean, honestly, most of them, the bays kind of protect that kind of stuff from coming in.
Sure.
Because they just kind of follow the water currents.
Right.
And so like there was never anything that we came across like that scared us. My wife got into like this poisonous bush that gave her a rash. It's called a Christmas bush. If there's something there, she's gonna find it.
Yeah, of course.
So and she did.
Of course.
But like other than that, man, it's just like you don't have to be worried about your kids wandering off and finding something that's gonna try and like kill them, murder them, sting them, bite them, puncture them in any sort of way. It's just like, there's like that's just not there.
And the people are awesome.
Well, and there's just not that many people.
Sure.
I mean, like the whole island is like 20 square miles.
Yeah, it's small.
It's small. But it takes you a half hour to get everywhere because you got to drive through the mountains.
Right.
It'll be like 5 miles and it'll take you a half hour.
Yeah. It's like Houston.
Kind of like Houston, yeah.
But for completely different reasons.
That's right. But so the place that we stayed at or have stayed at the last 2 times, the reason that we ended up staying there with them was 2 reasons. It's Jack and Julie's place. Big shout out to them. I'll link up their place in the show notes. It's fantastic. It's in Coral Bay. And there's basically 2 big places you can stay. You can stay in Cruise Bay or you can stay in Coral Bay. Cruise Bay is where there's more restaurants. There's a lot more nightlife. It's just going to be louder and more lit up at night.
Sure.
There's also a couple of resorts there. The Westin has a big resort there, and it's pretty. And there's lots of cool stuff to do in Cruise Bay. And Cruise Bay is where you come into the island if you're coming from St. Thomas.
Okay.
And then there's Coral Bay. Coral Bay is super quiet. There's like 3 or 4 restaurants in Coral Bay, and nobody makes any noise after like 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Sounds fantastic.
It is. and so, now there's a lot of boats in Coral Bay, and Coral Bay is not a place where you can like want to go snorkeling. It's more like a boat harborage.
Yeah.
But it's also where they have the floating taco bar.
Oh,
which
nice.
is fantastic.
Of course.
So that one's called Lime Out. Shout out to Lime Out.
Okay.
Incredible tacos and just a fun concept. I
Yeah.
mean, like giant floating tables out in the water and little floating tables they push out to you with their drinks and tacos.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you about a little bit of that in a minute. But anyway, Coral Bay is super quiet. Their place overlooks Coral Bay, and Jack maintains all the Jeeps for like St. Thomas and St. John. And so like he's the go-to mechanic, and he has his own fleet that he keeps there.
Okay.
And so
Rents them out?
You can rent them out from him, and it's very reasonable. And if you have any problems, he's the guy that they're going to call to come fix it anyway. And it's really difficult, especially if which you have to fly into St. Thomas,
Right.
and then take a boat from St. Thomas over to St. John. And it's really expensive to rent a car on St. Thomas and then get that car over to St. John. Or
Sure.
just, get a taxi to the boat to St. John and then rent another car while you're on St. John. It's next to impossible to find one. You usually have to book it like 6 months in advance,
Wow.
if not more, to even have a vehicle on the island. A lot of people end up resorting to taxis while they're
sense.
there. Taxis are crazy expensive.
I bet.
And there's no negotiating it because they're all regulated by the local government. So like just to give you, for instance, it was so when we landed in St. Thomas, there was 5 of us, and it was from the airport to the ferry to go to St. John. That taxi it was a 15-minute ride,
Okay.
and like maybe 6 miles.
Yeah.
It's like $125
Oh, my goodness.
to take that taxi.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so and you have no choice.
Right.
It's like that's what
it cost.
and so like when you get to the airport, there's literally a guy out front that's just like putting people in groups to get, because it's like most of them are like 18 passenger vans that they're sticking you on.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of people
Yeah.
that are all paying the same price.
Ugh.
And so they just fill up the vans and then send them off, fill up the vans and send them off.
$500
and
$500 to $700 a piece.
Yeah, they group you by destination.
Okay.
So they're like, who's going here? Who's going? And because they know there's only like so many places you can go.
Right.
And man, they got to be making a killing.
Oh, have to.
But
That's what you get whenever you live in a place where there's no other options and it's a monopoly.
well, but like it's also that they need to make that much in order to survive. Because we were talking about like we don't understand how people live there.
Yeah.
You talk about fuel being, it was like around $7 a gallon while we were there.
Yeah.
You talk about electricity. Electricity there is 10 times the national average.
Wow.
And so you do end up seeing a lot of people with like solar panels,
Sure.
and stuff like that.
It makes sense.
And so, but we're just trying to do the math in our head, and like we're pretty good at budgeting and like doing numbers for our business and understanding, okay, we can make that work, and how you can.
Sure.
Like I don't have any clue how you live there and comfortably.
Sure.
Because just everything's so daggum expensive.
Right.
So anyway, where was I?
We were talking about just, different places that you can be. You talked about the snorkeling you don't really want to do in Coral Bay because of all the ships.
Yeah. So, but like, even though that's like one place where you can't go snorkeling, there's like 20 different beaches that just are open to the public.
Yeah.
That you can go to.
Can you like rent equipment there, I assume?
Usually.
Okay.
So the place we stayed at gives you everything.
Oh.
So like they have snorkeling sets for everybody that stays there.
Cool.
They have, anything that you want to take to the beach, they have it
Okay.
for you. And usually that's, also comes with the vehicle that you rent.
Okay.
And so like they provide you with towels, they've got snorkeling gear, they've got fins, just the whole shebang.
Nice.
And then the place that we stay, when you stay with them, the week that you're there, you get 1 day of private beach.
Oh.
In what's called Hansen Bay. There's
Right.
a private beach that they have access to, and you can reserve it for the day, and it's just yours, and nobody else can have it.
Wow.
And that day, there's furniture and stuff out at the private beach. They also give you umbrellas. And then that place has additional things for rent, like paddle boards,
Okay.
kayaks, different things like that.
Nice.
But like there's different beaches that have different amenities. Like there's some of the beaches that have restaurants. at them.
Yeah.
Cinnamon Bay is one of those that has a pretty nice restaurant actually there.
Okay.
Cinnamon Bay also has glamping.
Ooh.
Like really nice tents that you can, but again, like they only have, I think they have like 10 of them.
Right.
So, I mean, like they go pretty quick.
Sure.
You have to plan in advance to do something like that. You also probably kind of want to be a camper.
Right.
to do that.
Yeah.
So it's, there's stuff there for everybody, depending on your if you have budgetary constraints, that's going to be
The biggest thing.
Yeah.
What's the climate like?
So I think it's pretty much the same all year long.
Okay.
Because the island sits pretty much on the equator.
Right.
So it's, it hangs out like around 85 degrees.
Huh.
Pretty much year round.
Humid?
It's not bad.
Really?
Not bad at all, no. But you, like, anytime, to me at least, if you have a nice ocean breeze, it's going to be difficult for it to be crazy humid.
Sure.
And you have that all day, all night. So it gets nice and cool at night, too. It usually, it'll usually get down into like the low 70s, high 60s.
Okay.
And I think some of that has to do with where you're sitting at on the mountain, too.
I would think so.
Because there's lots of elevation.
Sure.
Because, you can look up the mountain and it's like 3/4 of a mile, and there's still houses, up at the top. That's going to be a big temperature change.
Of course.
Up there. So that might be a little bit cooler. We were staying further down, but we just wanted to be close to the water. We didn't want to be on some of those crappy roads going up to the top.
No.
My wife had panic attacks just going on the lower ones. So,
I bet.
Anyway, it's so there's plenty of stuff to go and see different, but there's also hiking. And there's some cool hiking trails that you can take. A lot of them lead to like really flat bluffs out over the ocean that are kind of up high.
Oh yeah.
Real pretty views.
Yeah.
And then there's also one, the one we did the very last day, which is a waterfall hike that you can go to, but there's these stone carvings. I forget what they're called. Like we have pictures of them, but like one of the carvings, it looks like a monkey ninja that they like that picture of a head that they carved in.
Yeah.
And it's like weird kind of like Aztecian looking carving symbols that they just carved into stones up by this waterfall.
Interesting.
And it's like the best example they have of it from, they don't know when, honestly.
Yeah.
But really cool symbols and imagery that they have up there around this waterfall. The waterfall wasn't as big this time that we went. Last time we went, it was really big, but they'd had a lot of rain. But it's kind of cool, like on such a small island, this big fresh water waterfall coming down. Kind of rare.
Sure.
So
Cool.
anyway, there's just lots of cool stuff to go see and do.
Yeah.
While you're there. And before we get too much further, I want to thank our sponsors for this episode. The first one being Lone Star Appliance Repair. Guys, if you have any appliances that have, they're making those bumps, those weird squeaks, all the noises that you don't want to be hearing coming from your kitchen and washroom and all that kind of stuff, give them a call.
Yeah.
It's so much cheaper to get your appliance. You never know. It could be a simple fix that they can set up for you and make it brand new again.
Yeah.
Working like it hadn't worked in months. And there's a simple fee that they charge to come out and diagnose that appliance. And, maybe wait until there's 2 appliances that are down.
Yeah, right.
Get them to check them both out while they're there. I'm sure they're happy to oblige.
Sure.
But their techs are great, and they're very understanding, and they want to get you back up and running. And maybe that's because they walked in the house and they smelled how bad it was since you hadn't been able to do a load of laundry.
Yeah, right. Well, they actually came out to my mother-in-law's house just a few days ago, actually. Her washing machine, she's got one of those, it's not a stackable washer and dryer. It is a one washer dryer unit altogether. The dryer's on top, and the motor actually wound up going out on the washing machine. So she had this thing for like 20 years, and the thing that's nice about them coming out, they come out, they give you your options, and ultimately she decided to get a new one because it was old enough that she didn't feel like it was the smartest choice to put a new motor in something that's so old. But you don't know. I mean, it very likely could have gone the other way, where they're like, oh, we just need to change this little thing, and it was a cheap fix, and she could have been on her way. But they're going to be honest with you. They're not going to just take your money, and they understand that if if you want to go one way or the other, they're gonna help you out however they can.
Right.
So great experience. She had nothing but good things to say about the man that came out and helped, and was very kind and very honest, and everything was great. So she had a great experience, and I know you will too. And it's real easy to get a hold of them. You can call them at 936-647-2364. You can even text them at that very same number, or just go onto their website, and you'll be able to find them pretty easy. In fact, you can find a link to their website in the bottom of this episode. If you're listening online, you can find them really, really easily. Just Google Lone Star Appliance Repair, and you'll find them.
Awesome. Also want to say thank you to Texas True Solar, our newest sponsor for the show. These guys are the experts in solar energy systems and independent energy ownership. These guys want to come out and give you a free quote and see how they can help you get energy independence through solar, and or maybe through a combination of things like solar, battery, generator. But really, they want to be your go-to honest approach to solar energy. The CEO, Josh, he actually travels around speaking about the scams and some of the frustrations that a lot of homeowners experience with dishonest solar programs, or people who have gotten taken advantage of, and exposing some of these ways that other companies are doing this, but also providing a way for people to get honest information about getting solar on your home. And it's, a lot of the benefits that the government's providing right now, the incentives that you have, there's a lot of people not being honest about the way those work. And so True Texas Solar wants to be your company, your go-to solar company about getting the truth exposed about solar. You can give them a call at, let's see here, where it's 936. Oh, go ahead.
936-286-8325. That's 936-286-8325. You can also go straight to their website, truetexassolar.com, and schedule a consultation with them that way. And you never know. I mean, it's one of those things where you may be a perfect candidate to get solar. And if you are, it can save you a lot of money down the road, and just give you that independent mind. I mean, I'll tell you right now, man, it seems that we currently just live in an area where the grid system is not very good.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but when the storms are rolling through a week or so ago, when the flooding was so bad, our electricity came on and off multiple times. Now,
really?
it wasn't off ever for more than a moment.
Yeah.
But you just know. I mean, there's a possibility, and we're probably, you and I are probably in a better situation than some, because we're in a co-op, and the co-op's nice just because there's a different level of investment in getting it back up and running than if you're on energy or some of these other companies. And so being able to kind of control and know I've got power is really, really important. And so just give them a call, 936-286-8325. They will take care of you.
Yeah, and so one of the things I'll tell you that I saw on the island that was super cool is I saw a lot of sailboats with solar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and not when I say solar, I'm saying they weren't like the straight square panels. Mm-hmm. They were curved.
Really?
Yeah, and so they were custom built or designed. I don't know how it works, but custom solar panels designed to be the canopy of the boat.
Interesting.
So it was I don't know how much you've been on sailboats or whatever, but
not much.
On the back end, there's usually the spot where you kind of get down in the boat where you actually drive the boat from.
Okay.
And there's usually a vinyl cover or a plastic something over you. These were curved solar panels.
Really?
Sitting on the top, and
that's cool.
And they were big.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh dang, they're powering that whole boat.
That's cool
for electricity. With that,
yeah, that's really cool. I actually just bought a device, which you don't really have to deal with this too much because you have a cover over your pool. But one of the things that's the bane of my existence is skimming our pool, and we have an above ground pool, so it's a big above ground pool. But the problem is getting that skimmer net up. I mean, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah,
the ones that are in the ground are just a little bit easier to do, but there's a lot of times where I just spend a lot of time skimming, and we're under trees too. So I bought a robot skimmer, and it's solar powered.
Nice.
You can plug it in, but it's also solar powered, and it'll run 24/7.
So does it just sit underneath the water and just
it like sits on top of the water.
Oh, it sits on top of the water.
So it's got it's like floats up along the top of the water and just skims the top, and does a great job. It'll be real interesting. We can do a podcast on it soon.
Okay.
As soon as I get everything back up and running, I was cleaning out our pool yesterday and found a rip in the liner, so I'm gonna have to. It should be fairly easy to fix, but I got to fix it.
Yeah, actually, I took a peek in there when I was over there the other day, and
it
I
was
was
gross,
like,
wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah. Well, so what I think happened is we had a pretty decent sized tree limb that had fallen. I think it jabbed through, but yeah, we got it all cleaned out. It'll be good to go in a couple of days once I can actually, once the rain subsides, and actually get in there and finish cleaning it. But it's all the stuff from the bottom that you saw is all cleaned out. But anyway, it'll be real interesting because now we've got the robot that like cleans the floor, and then we'll have the skimmer that will keep the floor much cleaner. Because as it kind of skims along the top, stuff won't get down to the bottom quite as easily. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how that works.
I'm interested to hear about that thing. I mean, because I couldn't use it because I don't have.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is like it was very reasonably priced for what I thought it. Well, it was on sale. I bought it on sale, and it was on a flash sale on top of that. So I got it for a decent price. But if it works the way it is touted to work, I'm going to be very happy. So,
okay, so I'm gonna run through some. One, I want to finish telling everybody why we stayed at where we stayed at, because there's several amenities that we get to take advantage of. One, I also want to tell everybody that if you just want to check out, I'll go ahead and send Kevin this link. But if you just did a search, because this is how I found it real quick, is I just did a search for Jack and Julie USVI, and the very first result is their place on VRBO. So I'm going to send this over to Kevin real quick. Anyway, and like the very first picture is actually our patio that we stayed on.
Okay.
So that is our place.
Pulling it up right now.
Oh, sweet. Anyway, part of the other reason that we stay there, one, is access to the Jeep.
Yeah.
And then, there it is. Two is Julie is a semi-retired chef.
Oh.
That lives there. And before you come, she will typically give you a list of menu items that she's willing to prepare dinners and or lunches for you, and she lists the costs for them.
Okay.
And everything. They are amazing.
Really?
They are absolutely incredible. She does an amazing job, and there may even be pictures on there of some of the food that she's prepared. But yeah, that's our place, man. And it's just
you have access to this kitchen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so that's the one we stayed in this time.
Okay.
There are two other units in the same building that are kind of like almost like honeymoon suites.
Okay.
That are like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath.
Okay. So you don't have the kitchen.
Don't have the kitchen.
Okay.
But again, you're staying there. I just recommend getting her to cook you dinner. I mean, because it's private,
right?
And every room has a private patio with a table and chairs on it, so you can have all your meals there. And you have access to a grill if you want to do your own kind of thing. We actually ended up doing a deal with her where, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute because we chartered a boat while we were there.
Oh, okay.
We were hoping to catch our own fish. We ended up not being able to do that, but she made contingency plans for us had we not been able to catch our own fish, which ended up coming to fruition. She had local fishermen have fish ready for us.
Really?
And so she actually prepared all the sauces and the sides and then let us grill the fish.
Okay.
And then just have that be our meal one night.
Oh, that's awesome.
So anyway, staying there is a huge, huge advantage because no one else gets those meals.
Right.
And if you go follow me on Instagram or Facebook or something like that, you can see some of the meals that we had sitting on. I mean, they're just absolutely incredible. And she can do stuff other than
Here's
fish.
One of the meals right here.
So I don't have the live feed, but
looks pretty good. Oh, it's lobster.
Oh yeah, she does do a lobster. Like we had mahi, we had grouper, we had diver sea scallops.
Yeah, that's what this is.
And all of it was just so good. But like our kids, they're not big fish eaters.
Yeah.
And so she made them steak tacos.
Really?
Which were really good.
I'm sure they were.
So anyway, just an absolutely incredible place to stay. It also has access. There's 2 grocery stores really close to their place, as well as some of the better restaurants on the island. And so that one, I'll tell you real quick, just as far, there's a couple places I would check out if I go to St. John. One would be the St. John's Brewery, which is in Cruz Bay.
Okay.
It's worth checking just because it's a local brew. They brew all their beer there, and they actually have a restaurant, and it's got like pizza and burgers, and the food's pretty good too. And it's in this cool little town center that has a bunch of other little shops around it, so you can kind of get, you can check out some of the local fare that's not directly in Cruz Bay, which is more touristy. And so the brewery is a good place to check out. There is a really cool bar at the Westin that just sits right on the beach. It's a real pretty bar, and so like if you're just into having like an evening cocktail or a glass of wine at the end of the day, it's a real pretty place to sit and have a glass. There's also Skinny Legs. Skinny Legs, we love Skinny Legs. You could walk to it from where we stayed at in Coral Bay. It's where a lot of locals will tell you to go check out.
Okay.
They're just a different kind of a restaurant. There's no deep fat fryers there. And so like no French fries or anything like that. But they have really good burgers. Okay. Probably the best burger I had on the island. And they have a rotating special every day. Sure. With a different burger or a chicken sandwich or something like that. Everything we've had there has been great. Mm-hmm. Everything's fresh. I even had a salad there that was just perfect. Huh. But the other reason I really love Skinny Legs is they have in my opinion, they have the best painkiller on the island. Oh, nice. Which have you ever had pain?
I've never had one, but I'm aware of what it is.
It's, so like, I'm not a big like sweet cocktail drinker kind of a guy. But when I go to an island, I want a painkiller. Yeah. It's pineapple, coconut, rum. It's just, and then they put nutmeg on the top. Oh, wow. It's just good. Yeah. I love it. And it's like every restaurant on the island has one. Okay. Skinny Legs is sort of famous for not having blenders. Oh. So they hand shake every single cocktail that they make. Interesting. So, it's just, it's not weird to be sitting there and have like a bunch of chickens underneath your feet. It's a different kind of a place. Yeah, it's a different but vibe. It's one of the ones you got to check out. It's kind of off the beaten path. Okay. But like, when it opens because everybody that knows about it, they go there. Yep. Interesting. So the other thing is we came across this guy, Drift Charters. Okay. I love this guy. All right. He was fantastic. Let me tell you why this is a unique find. If you go to the island and you charter a boat, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to go snorkeling or you're going to go fishing. Okay. One of those two. Yeah. And on that fishing and or snorkel boat, you're going to have drinks and cocktails provided or you're not. Oh. And you may or may not have the option to go to Limeout, which it's kind of pricey to take a little shuttle out to Limeout because it's a floating taco bar. Right. You can only get to it by boat, so if you don't have a boat, you can't go. So you got to like either charter like a little float boat to get out there or be on a big boat that's willing to take you there. Okay. Drift Charters was the only company that we found that was willing to do all of it. Okay. The only one. Interesting. And so he had drinks on the boat for us. He was willing to take us out and go fishing. He had all the gear ready to go. He knew exactly what he was doing, but he also knew all the snorkeling spots. Oh, okay. And so we went out fishing that morning. Oh, you got on the website. Good for you. Yeah. And the water was super choppy. Oh, okay. The wind was like 20, 25 knots. And so like pretty good sized waves. It's not a huge boat. And I loved it. Like I've been out and that kind of stuff before. I live for it, man. Yeah. I'm there for it. People were getting seasick. Sure. And not enjoying themselves. Yeah. And we'd only been out there 20 minutes. And it was like, hey, we're not enjoying this. Yeah. And like we're paying a bunch of money to have this boat.
Are you doing a half day or full day?
Full day.
Okay.
full day on the boat because we were going to try and get everything in. And so anyway, I went to the captain and I was like, hey man, like, I don't think this is going to work. I mean, I really want to fish, but like there's a bunch of people getting seasick.
Right.
My wife's kind of worried about my kids. The water's kind of choppy.
Yeah.
Which I know is fine, but it's like
scary.
It's scary.
Especially when they got kids.
Yes. And he's like, no problem, man. I got you. So we pulled in all the lines, hightailed it back into the island, and he was like, let's go snorkeling.
Okay.
And we just started doing it, and he was just so
accommodating,
man. Yes. I mean, he was just ready for us to have a great day.
Sure.
And he really made it happen. He took us to some spots, spots you can't get to just from the land.
Yeah.
Some really cool spots. And the other thing was, one, my kids are, especially my younger two, are fish, and they are really, really good swimmers.
Yeah.
And it kind of freaks some people out sometimes because they're like, should he be doing that? Are they okay? Because
Right.
I mean, like they'll dive down and you won't see them for a while.
Oh yeah.
And like as soon as you stop, they're ready to get in the water.
Yeah.
You'll run into like experienced, like beachgoers who are like, they want like a pool noodle on them before they get in the water.
Sure.
My kids, no way. They're in the water.
They're there.
So we started finding conch while we were out, which is a harvestable, I don't even know what they are. I guess they're a cephalopod. Like the big conch shells that you see.
Yeah.
You seen those?
Yeah.
So one of the things that you eat on the island while you're there is conch fritters. Usually restaurants have conch fritters on the menu.
Interesting.
Have you ever had those?
Are they fried?
Yeah.
Most of them?
They're if you haven't ever had them, they're kind of like hush puppies.
Okay.
But like they just got conch meat in them. You usually have like corn in them, and you usually dip them in like a remoulade.
Okay.
Really, really yummy.
Okay.
But anyway, you can actually get them, harvest them off the ocean floor.
Okay.
But they have to be at minimum 9 inches.
Oh, that's huge.
It's huge for a shell.
Yeah.
So all the ones that we found were under 9 inches.
Yeah.
But my kids, like, once I found the first one, and it was like maybe 6.5, 7 inches long.
Sure.
But I was just like, look what I found.
Yeah.
Of
course.
Once I found that, that's all they wanted to do.
That's it.
And so they were diving down like 12, 15 feet.
Oh my gosh.
When one, you could see them at that depth.
Yeah.
But two, like they were diving down and getting these conch and bringing them up, and they wanted to measure them because they were like, let's go home and make conch fritters. And I'm like, I'm in there. Let's do it.
Yeah, right.
I didn't get to fish anything. I want to kill a conch.
Sure.
We never got one that was big enough, but we had a blast diving for them.
Yeah.
And so as soon as they knew that we could pick something up, they were like, well, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. And then they started like, okay, well, last time I saw one, it was in a spot like this. And so like, be looking for that at the next one. They're like a school of shark, man.
Yeah, that's right.
They were coordinating.
Yeah, they were hunting.
And so we did that, and then we went to Lime Out and just ate gobs of tacos.
I'm sure you're starving at that point.
Oh, we were. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, man. You tell everybody you're going to Lime Out, and everyone's like, well, just be prepared. It's the most expensive taco you'll have in your life. That was not true.
Okay.
But they're not cheap. I mean, most of the tacos are between $10 and $14 a piece.
Have you been to Torchy's?
Yes. Look, I mean, Torchy's, you're going to pay like what, $4 to $6 per taco?
But around here, that's pretty expensive
pricey
taco.
Yeah. But, for what you're doing, the experience that you're getting,
it is what it is.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah.
And and they were good.
You gotta kind of take that type of thing and go, look, what you're getting, you'll never get again.
Yeah.
This is not a normal thing. So you are not just paying for the taco, you're paying for the experience, and you kind of got to look at it that way,
Yeah. And I would say, like, look, don't ruin everyone else's experience by being a cheap ass.
It's so true.
It's just like why put that stain on that day?
Right. It's like the people that wear the most expensive day ever shirts at Disney.
People.
I do too.
I hate those people.
I mean, everybody knows it's expensive.
I know that you're being slightly sarcastic when, not you, but like people wearing their shirts are being slightly sarcastic wearing the shirts. I don't care.
But still,
you're just
like, you didn't pay any different amount that I did.
Yeah.
We all know how much it cost.
Yeah.
And it probably wasn't your most expensive day ever.
Oh, definitely not.
I've had...
Look, man, when your AC goes out,
your AC goes out. You got a roof that goes, got hail damage on a roof. You got a tree falls on your house. There's a lot of more expensive days.
That could actually be like a fun marketing ploy for Jehu and JoJo over there.
That's true.
Hand out most expensive day ever T-shirts.
That would be hilarious. JoJo, if you're listening right now, get on that. That's a great idea.
It's like you show up to do the job. It's like, I'm sorry, but we got you this T-shirt.
We got you this. I know it's a small consolation, but, it'd be great advertising.
That's right.
That's funny.
Well, or they could do like the contrary T-shirt.
Oh.
Where it's like, it's the one that they'll give you that you can wear to Disney that says like, no, jackass, this was the most expensive day.
Yeah, but has your AC ever gone out? That's funny. I think I've mentioned it before, but one of my favorite advertising for AC company is a massive billboard going down Highway 75 in Dallas, and it said, "Your wife is hot." Massive. And then right underneath it said, "Get your AC checked." That's right. It's so funny. So funny. It's very eye-catching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ad did its job.
Exactly.
So, well, man, I don't think I have anything else about. Do you have any questions about any of that?
No, I think we answered most of them. The biggest thing, I know you gotta fly to St. Thomas and then get over to St. John, but I think just doing your research and honestly, look, you can do your research, but just stay at this place. Why wouldn't you at this point?
It's not any more expensive than any other place that you're going to stay on the island.
Sure.
And in fact, it's less than others.
And at that point, you're getting a great atmosphere, tried and true, it's an Airbnb. It's what it is.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah.
So okay, so while I have one parting story before we turn this thing off.
Okay.
So while I'm there, I meet this dude from Connecticut.
All right.
And
Connecticut.
Anyway, super nice guy.
Right.
He owns a house there on the island.
Oh.
And he was telling me, we just got to chatting at one of the beaches. He was there with his grandkids.
Okay.
His son and their children. And he was telling me that he owns the place. And I asked him, so how often do you come? He goes, I'm usually here about 1 month out of the year.
Oh. Nice.
And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
And then he's what, like Airbnb in the place?
He's and I was like, so it's a vacation rental the rest of the time? He goes, oh, yeah. And I said, how's that doing for you? And he goes, oh, it does pretty well. Mm-hmm. I said, really? And I was like, give me an idea. And he goes, I'll tell you this. He goes, I usually pay around $1 million every year in HOA fees.
Okay, what?
Yeah. And I was like, holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I said, you're still cash flowing on this thing? He goes, oh, yeah, it's doing pretty good.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was like, oh, my gosh. And, like, not only that, he's taking a month off the calendar every year.
Right.
So, like.
For him. Jeez.
So while I'm talking with him, he's asking me about what I do and like where I'm from, what I do, all this kind of stuff. And I'm from Texas. I kill bugs. No big deal. And he goes, oh, so did you hear about the big scandal here? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And he goes, you didn't hear about the company that killed all those people?
What?
And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, there was this vacation rental that this company was treating, and there was a family staying in the unit above. And they killed a bunch of them.
What?
And now they're being sued and,
well, yeah.
and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And so, like, I was talking to my wife about it, and she goes, well, that sounds insane. I mean, surely we would have heard something about that. And I was like, I don't know, but I'm going to research it when I get home.
Yeah.
So I did.
And here it is.
So this was kind of like a game of telephone. No one was killed.
Okay.
But the father in the family was permanently disabled and what is it where you can't walk and what's it called?
Cerebral palsy?
No. It's like when
there's so many options.
No, it's
to go with.
I can't think of the word. Anyway, he can't ever walk again.
Yeah, he's like a paraplegic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And like it looks like he's got like severe like arthritis in his hands and all this kind of
paralyzed.
Stuff. Thank you, paralyzed.
Oh.
Anyway, and then the kids were paralyzed for a good long while, and recovered somewhat. But like everyone in the family was injured in some form or fashion. So all that was true.
This was Terminex. I'm gonna put it out there.
So
it says it right here in the article.
It's in the article. So we're not like
no.
Anyway,
I'm not defaming them.
No, and the case it happened back in 2015. Okay,
right.
The case with the family, I don't think, was settled until 2018, and they ended up having to pay them $96 million.
Jeez.
And the reason it was so bad is not just because they injured the family and they did an improper treatment that caused the injury, but they were using a pesticide that had been banned.
Ooh.
And it hadn't just like been banned
Methyl
like
bromide.
Yeah, it hadn't just been banned like a month before. It'd been banned for years. And so the guy that was like the manager of that Terminex branch was
deep doo-doo.
yeah, so he went to prison, but he only went to prison for like 12 months.
What?
Yeah.
So you kill a group of people.
He didn't kill anybody.
Oh,
he didn't kill anybody.
Okay, look, let's wind that back.
Yeah. The story I initially got
severely hurt people.
Yeah, permanently severely hurt people
Jeez.
on vacation, and just insane, man.
Yeah.
I also understand how it happened. I know exactly what happened.
Sure.
But without even having to read the article, I knew what had happened. Because while I was there are termite colonies everywhere.
Oh, really?
Everywhere.
Ugh.
They're in the trees, man.
Oh.
There's a video I'm going to be posting not too long from now of one that I found that I poked.
Okay.
And they are, I believe they are, they're either dampwood or drywood termites. I don't know which ones they are, but it's one of the two.
Okay.
And they are these kinds of termites. They actually have them in the Heights right here in Houston.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are these termites that come up out of the ground and then they go up and build their colony above.
Oh.
And then they draw from the ground and then build their carton up.
Oh, jeez.
And the only way to get rid of them is to fumigate.
Okay.
And so what happened is the building below had termites in it, and they were fumigating it, and those fumes got up into that top unit and just waxed those people, man.
Wow.
And because methyl bromide is nothing to mess around with, man.
No.
It's got the skull and crossbones on it. That stuff will kill you.
Right. Well, yeah.
And so come to find out, like I started reading a bunch of articles on it because it's 2015. I mean, there's been a lot of information.
Sure.
The case was just settled with the Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands actually ended up suing Terminex.
Okay.
And Terminex had to pay the Virgin Islands $3 million.
Oh, my goodness.
And part of the reason was because Terminex wasn't just operating on St. John. They were in St. John, St. Thomas, St. Croix, Puerto Rico.
Wow.
I mean, like he was managing all those and using methyl bromide. They were able to backtrack and see that he had used it all over those islands.
Oh my goodness.
For years.
Ugh.
And he just claimed ignorance. He's like, I didn't know.
What?
I didn't know.
That doesn't work.
Well, clearly.
Yeah. That's like walking up to someone shooting them and going, I didn't know that would happen.
I just
like
didn't know.
like it's the George syndrome. Was that wrong?
Was that wrong?
Because if I would have known that was wrong, right?
Should I not have done that?
Yeah, exactly. Come on, George.
Isn't that the one where he sleeps with the secretary?
Yes.
Or no, it's the cleaning lady. He
Yeah,
sleeps
the
with
cleaning lady. Yeah, it's a cleaning lady in his office. Was that wrong? Yeah, it's so funny.
Oh man. So anyway, that was a story that I came across while I was there. Just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And let's see. What's the name of this? Oh, I'm sorry. I said 97 million. It was 87 million.
It was 87 million. But then they had to pay $10,000 in fines.
Yes.
On top of the settlement, and then there was also the $3 million
to the Virgin Islands.
So you're at 100 million.
Yeah.
That's where that number 100 million came from.
Yeah.
They were like, we're going to make this $100 million.
Well, and let me tell you, they're not there anymore. I found an article several years later about Terminex decides to end its relationship with the Virgin Islands, and I'm like, I wonder why.
No, I think they ended your relationship more than you ended your relationship.
Well, I mean, look, even if you wanted to stay, I mean, like, 87 million is a bloodbath.
Sure.
Two, just the fact that a guy who lives there 1 month out of the year is talking about it almost 10 years later.
Yep.
And the only part of the story he got wrong was that they killed them.
Right.
Everything else he knew exactly right.
Wow.
And they're still talking about it.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's a big deal.
So reputation is gone. Like those, and here's the other thing, man, is, obviously Terminex is doing fine. They're a big company. Yep. And like I've worked with a lot of guys that have come out of Terminex. They do good training.
Sure.
They have good people over there.
Yeah.
But what would concern me more than anything is the Virgin Islands is a tourist destination.
Right.
Where now everybody that lives there thinks of them as evil and will take the opportunity when given to tell you that story.
Good luck.
Yeah. And so like those people who go to that island and hear those stories are taking those stories back to their hometown.
Yeah.
And so that bad reputation is infected across the United States, man.
Yeah.
And like we're not trying to like bolster that at all. It was just crazy that that's the story I heard while I was on the island.
Right.
So
yeah. I mean, we'll take this down if Terminex wants us to, but they're going to need to contact us first.
Right, I mean, call ABC and all the 20 other news stations that carry this.
We'll just do it for a fee. Is what I'm saying.
We're blackmailing them.
We can be bribed. But it's less than 87 million. I'll put it out there.
Dude, the pictures of the dad in the wheelchair, man.
Oh, I know, dude. Just breaks your heart.
Okay, the part that pisses me off is this is something that's completely preventable,
right?
And should have never happened.
Nope. Well, and there's also like yes, the person who is running it should have known.
Yeah.
However, he's buying this chemical in droves.
He's getting it somewhere.
And it's coming across a statement. Mm-hmm. To Terminex,
like
they know.
They
can't. And surely that's where a lot of that money is like going. No. This goes straight up to the top.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, and like just I mean, from a perspective of a guy that's in the industry, like this is why it's so important to find a company that has been around a while.
Yeah.
And again, Terminex has been around a while, so like they check that box.
Sure.
But that someone that you can have a personal interaction with, that you can know that this is someone that's going to act with integrity and act in your best interest.
Right.
Not necessarily, because look, there are chemicals in our industry that make our jobs way easier.
Sure. And
get quicker results. That doesn't mean that it's the best thing for your situation.
Right.
Or that it's the most ethical thing. Because look, there are still guys out there talking about chloridane to this day. Chloridane's been banned for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
And I still run across guys, I got some chlorine hiding in my grandpa's barn, and I'm still using it. And it's like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, come on.
Like, no, was it a great product? Yeah, it was an incredible product.
Right.
But like, it sits in the soil forever, which is why they got rid of it.
Sure.
And so, like, you want somebody that's gonna do right by you, but like is also looking out for like your family's health. I mean, this is why like our onboarding process for some people is just like invasive, you know, because like we ask a lot of personal questions before we come into your house.
Sure.
You know, and for some people that's surprising.
Sure.
For some people that's encouraging.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people who have had interactions with other companies, it's like, why are you asking me all these things?
Right.
It's like,
because we care.
Because we care and we don't want to do anything to like hurt you and your family.
Yeah, I mean,
or your pets
or your animals, right? Exactly. There's so many things that you need to know.
Yeah, or that I need to be made aware of, so as to like take better care of you.
That's right,
and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So anyway, it's a great trip. I encourage everybody, if you have the means to get out there, go stay at Jack and Julie's, go jump on a boat with Drift Charters. Go to Skinny Legs.
Yeah.
Do all those things.
Sure.
It's kind of like going to Disney, man. Like you're going to be spending money no matter what.
Yeah.
Just spend it and enjoy it the way you want to,
and then
suffer through it for the next 3 to 4 years.
That's awesome.
So
cool. That's it. Well, thank you guys for downloading today's episode or listening to us live on the YouTubes and the Facebooks and all the places. We're everywhere. So if you've not already liked and subscribed, that's your fault. You should go ahead and do that. Click the clickety thing and leave us a 5-star rating and review. We would appreciate it very much. Tell your friends about us. We have fun on here, and they will too. Thanks for listening. Until next time, we'll see you later.
See ya. Yeah. He gave us a bunch of stickers. I'm going to put them on the door.
Cool.
Yeah, and he's from Georgia.
Really?
Yeah.
But he's in St. Thomas and St. Croix, too.
He's
got a pretty decent-sized operation as far as that goes. Or he goes to those places is probably a better way.
Yeah, he does. He goes to those places.
He's only got one boat.
Right now, yeah. Well, he just got another one, and he got a big one.
It's not on the website.
No, not yet. Like he's got to go like pick it up and get it there still.
Oh, okay.
But his wife is a. Oh, hang on. Let me stop this.